In my last video, I went over how to draw a value scale, which is a bar of value where each value gets progressively darker in each square. In this video, I'm going to show you how to draw a value gradient, which is where the value transitions smoothly and seamlessly from one value to the next. So where the value scale changes value at each box, the value gradient will flow from one to the next with no seams. To get us started, grab a pencil and some sort of straight edge and create a bar across your paper. You want your bar to be the same length as your value scale. So I'm going to measure in an inch on either side because I know that's how long my value scale is. All right, so this is the space that I will make my gradient in. Just like before, I'm going to start with my 5H at one end. And I'm going to do the same small circular strokes, pressing as lightly as I can. Remember, this process is not meant to be fast. I'm now coming up on where the end of my first box is in my value scale. So I'm going to continue shading with my 5H up until the edge. And you know what? I think I want an eraser to get rid of some of the darkness right here. So I'm going to grab that. I'm just going to use my eraser to lightly brush off some of that value that's too dark. That's better. And then I'm going to grab my 4H and I'm going to start shading here. Remember, nice light pressure. But I am going to go back a little bit into my 5H area and barely brush the paper. I'm just looking to add the tiniest bit of extra value. Right. And then I'm going to keep going with my 4H in the area that's going to stay that value. It's going to be a level 2 value. So now I'm doing just slightly more pressure on my pencil, still not a lot. as I'm coming up on where my level 3 value is going to go, I'm actually going to start putting a little bit less pressure on my pencil. Alright, so I'm, again, barely brushing it against the paper. I'm just making some adjustments where the value is a little bit uneven. And then I'm going to grab my 2H. Again, I'm skipping the 3H and going straight to the 2H. And at this edge here where I went really light with my 4H, I'm going to barely brush my 2H against the paper. And I'm going back over that level 2 area. And then I'm going to start shading in with my 2H, new area. And as I come to the edge, I'm going to let up on my level 2 pencil again, my 2H pencil again, so that I'm not touching the paper much. I'm going to adjust any values that need it. And then I'm going to grab my H value pencil and barely brush over my previous value. And then start adding a little bit more pressure. I'm thinking this looks a little bit light, so I'm going to go and do a second round with the same pencil over the area. Not with too much pressure. And lightly brush over my 2H area just to keep that gradient consistent. I'm going to brush lightly with my H into the area where my HB is going to go. And then I'll grab my HB, barely touch the paper over the area where I shaded with the H. Now I'm going to start adding just a little bit more pressure. Notice how when I'm darkening an area, I go back and darken the area ahead of it because I need to keep that gradient consistent, keep it transitioning across the whole area, the whole rectangle that I created. Now I'll switch to my B. Slowly starting to put more pressure on my pencil. Now I'm going to my 2B. Now I'm going to skip my 3B and go to my 4B. I'm starting to put some more pressure on my pencil now. Switch to my 5B. And lastly, grab my 6B. And there is my finished gradient, starting with a 5H and ending with a 6B. Here's a close-up view. So we start very, very light, and it's a smooth transition all the way across to the darkest value.